welcome to the inaugural episode of the Mancalorians, a Star Wars podcast. I'm Jordan, and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host, Aaron. Aaron, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, yeah, very well, thank you, very well. So yeah, tell the people why we're here.
So, we want to be like the biggest home of Star Wars. We want to cover everything. So from like we said in the introduction video, like the news, the entertainment. We want to cover everything. So like new information, breaking news, that kind of stuff. But we need your help as well because we need to grow our community to make it really big so that we can actually get all this news and then be recognised. So that's kind of the whole thing that we want to do because we absolutely love Star Wars. We have done from, I think I can speak for you as well, Jordan, like since we were kids, like growing up, It's been like massive. Am I right?
So yeah, obviously we're going to cover everything from debates, reviews, news, everything that's to do with Star Wars, so books, games, TV, film, Legends and canon. Can't forget about Legends. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff on there within Legends. I'm still learning about. Aaron, I know you know a little bit more Legends than me.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, we can't forget about Legends, so we're going to cover that as well. But yeah, no good. So, Aaron, what was your first, or what was your first Star Wars memory?
Right, so I remember, so I've got like almost two, yeah. So I remember when I was growing up, actually going and watching the Phantom Menace, and I know it's coming. Back into the cinema for obviously the anniversary. So my earliest memory is going and watching that film, episode 1, and I've got it, hold it really really close to my heart. And I remember my dad when we were watching all like the trilogy, right? I remember watching it with my dad, but I remember watching episode 1, episode 2, and I remember him saying to me, that's the bad guy, he's the emperor. And I thought, how does he know that? He can't possibly know who that is. And as a kid, obviously, even though I'd watched the originals, I really didn't take in what the hell was going on because I was so young. I must have been about 6 or if not younger when I first watched Star Wars. And I remember wondering to myself, how does he even know who this is? I thought he was a genius. So I remember that to anything my dad said, I just took it for gospel. Like, he was a genius in my eyes. And then as I got older and I realised, well, actually, 10 years prior, he had watched the original trilogy, and he knew who the Emperor was, and this whole time, and I thought, wow, he had me there. Do you know what I mean? So go on, what was yours?
Yeah, no, it's good. So I've, we're obviously you're coming up to 30. I'm turned 30 a couple of months ago. So yeah, it's the 25th anniversary this weekend. And yeah, 25 years ago, I was 5 years old. I went to see The Phantom Menace. I think it was the first film I ever saw in the cinema. I think it was the first film I ever saw of Star Wars at all. So I went to the cinema with my mum and my cousin Claire. And yeah, 5 years old. And my mum was, or still is, a big Star Wars fan. And yeah, just fell in love whilst watching The Phantom Menace and been obsessed ever since. And yeah, just absolutely fell in love with it. Obviously the Jedi, the lightsabers, the ships, in space, all the planets, all the different creatures. There's just so much that's being created in the world of Star Wars, and I think, yeah, George Lucas is just he's a genius. The guy is a genius, and obviously we're still going now. Star Wars is, strong as ever. Still going. It's 77, so, come up to 50 years, and there's no slowing down of the Disney, so yeah, that was my first memory.
So did you watch The Phantom Menace first then, or did you watch the originals?
So yeah, I think Phantom Menace was the very first film I saw in the cinema. I think it was the first Star Wars film I ever saw. So I think I was 5, went to see The Phantom Menace, and not long after I started watching the originals. Fell in love with Luke Skywalker. He was my absolute idol. You know, yeah, Luke was obviously Darth Vader as well, the ultimate villain. And yeah, just obviously went from there. Obviously, watched them a million times over. Fell in love with Star Wars even more. And then obviously a couple of years later, when I was 8, Attack of the Clones came out. First day I was there, and then same again 3 years later in 05 for Revenge of the Sith. I think it was last year, primary school. I was 11. You would have been the same. Again, that was my mum first night, and yeah, Revenge of the Sith was shocking at the time. Obviously, the whole thing with Anakin turning to the dark side, and yeah, it was. So yeah, just that was it really. What about you?
Yeah, I think Phantom Menace was. No, it wasn't. I think I watched the originals, but because I was saying, I was so young, I don't think I
Yeah,
registered anything that was going on, or maybe I watched like one of them, but I didn't really, for some reason, I didn't actually enjoy it. And then when I watched Phantom Menace, I absolutely loved it.
yeah,
And I can't, what for the life of me, I can't remember his name, but he was like my favourite character in the whole thing. Don't ask me why, I have no idea why now, but he's the captain of like the guard on the boot, and he has that
yeah.
pistol.
I forgot his name.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was obsessed, and I was like, yeah, I want to be like him, and that was who I wanted to be out of everyone. That was the guy I wanted to be. It's like he's only got a few lines.
So yeah, just a little small cameo. You wanted to be him. No Jedi, nothing. No lightsaber. You just wanted to be
I just
the
liked his
guy
pistol.
Star Wars Phantom Menace for like 2 minutes. Brilliant.
The one thing I
Cool.
regret as well, yeah. Well,
Go
not
on.
really regret, but one thing that I'm gutted I missed out on was if we grew up with the originals, the reveal of like Darth Maul. So when he turns up and he puts his lightsaber out and he's like,
Yeah.
and then he just goes, and the other side the double blades come out, and I was like, wow. I wish watching like back on videos and stuff, people's reaction to it. Man, I missed. I don't think I had that reaction.
Yeah. I did a little bit, but yeah, I don't remember too much. But yeah, that was cool. I can't believe it's been 25 years since the Phantom Menace. It's absolutely crazy.
I know, man, it makes us feel old. But
Yeah.
quick
Very,
question for you, moving on slightly.
yes.
Do you think people will have the same attitude and like the same kind of surprise when they see the newest weapon that's going to be introduced?
As in the light whip.
The light whip. Yeah.
Um, yes and no. I don't know. I think I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like. Um, but I think it's going to be. Obviously, it's been in the novels for the last 3 years. I'm not really a big novel person. You read the books more than me.
Hmm.
I think it's going to be quite divisive. I think a lot of people are going to love it. A lot of people are going to hate it. I'm genuinely excited. I'm intrigued to see what it's like. Sounds really cool. So that's my thoughts. What about you?
See, I don't know because I'm going to sound like a bit of a hypocrite now because I've just turned around and said that I wish I was there to see Maul reveal his double blade.
Yeah,
I think for me, I don't know. I think it might be too much of a change. Like when Kylo Ren had his like Claymore looking lightsaber, I I I like that. I thought it was quite cool.
yeah,
I like the fact that it was fractured and it had that hum coming off it. I really like that. I know a lot of people when he first appeared weren't a big fan, but I think with the light whip coming, it's a whole. It's not a lightsaber, is it? It's like completely changed. So I'm a bit uneasy about it. The only saving grace, I think, is that it's not been created by Disney. I think the fact that it was in Legends and they've brought
yeah,
it in, I actually think Disney might have done something really smart with it, where they've brought it in as like one, like they've wrote it in, and like there's one character that's kind of created it. I think, from what I've read, so I think that might be a nice way to introduce it. But then, how are they
yeah,
gonna? I'm more worried about how they're gonna take it out of the Star Wars universe because we've not seen it after that. You know, when we look at like Phantom Menace, or you look at well, anything after the uh, the High Republic era, anything after that, we've not seen it. So I know in Legends it was banned. They banned it. I know it was like a Sith used weapon, and then kind of the Jedi Order kind of banned it. So maybe that might come into play, and that might like stop it, or you know, make it redundant, I guess.
Yeah, well, from what I've read, it sounds like it's the light whip's quite effective against the Sith, from what I've read. So it'd be interesting to see, how it pops up and how it's used. But yeah, no, we'll get into the Acolyte in a moment. Obviously, by the time this first episode comes out, the Bad Batch season 3 finale will be out. So we will cover that on the next episode. We'll do a full review and we'll discuss the finale, which I'm quite excited about. But yeah, we just touched on it briefly. Let's kind of go back to the last 6 weeks ago. Obviously, the first Acolyte trailer dropped, and yeah, I'm really excited for it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I like how they're bringing in the kind of martial arts aspect to the fighting. I think they really need it. After watching like the Ahsoka fights, I thought that was a massive letdown for me. Even though I somewhat enjoyed Ahsoka as a season, there was a lot of things that let it down. Whereas with the Acolyte, I'm really hoping that the fight scenes are going to stand out massively, because I think that's what people watch. That's what people love about Star Wars, is the fight scenes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. I think the last 3 Star Wars films, maybe Ahsoka as well. The fight scenes have been a little bit poor compared to the probably nearly as poor as the originals. Really, I think the the prequels choreography was brilliant. Obviously, the originals not great, but it's 40, 50 years ago. And then the sequel's a bit of a mixed bag, like Ahsoka. So obviously this is set like 1 year before the Phantom Menace. I'm hoping the fight scenes, the choreography is more to kind of the prequel level. So I'm excited about that. And obviously, you touched on the fight scenes. So obviously we've got Trinity from the Matrix is in the Acolyte. Obviously she plays a Jedi Master. You can see in the trailer you can tell she's been based on Trinity from the Matrix. It's obviously it's Carrie Ann Moss who plays her from the Matrix as well. And you see she kind of does this kind of like martial arts, force fu fighting is what it's been called. So I thought that was pretty cool. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I think that's what's sick about it. That's what I'm really looking forward to. I don't know if you realise though, there's like a time where she kind of uses the Force to stop one of the we know who she is, don't we? Who's in that mask? I think they've revealed the character, right?
Say again.
Did they not reveal the character? Surely they have. I can't remember.
Yes, we'll get into that in a minute. Yeah.
Well, that whoever she is, obviously she stops it. She stops the blade with the Force, and there's only, I think we only ever see that twice in Star Wars, and one of them is in one of my most favourite scenes, and it's in Kenobi, and it's when Vader does it. So when he pulls the ship down, and then he has that fight, doesn't he? I need to shape up with my character names, because this is atrocious. He has the fight with one of the Inquisitor. Yeah, not the actual Inquisitor, but the one that replaces him. I can't remember her name. But he has a fight with her, and she goes to hit him with the lightsaber, and he's just like, boom, and just stops it. And I just thought, wow. And then we see it again. Obviously, we're seeing it in the Acolyte.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to touch on Jedi Master Sol, who obviously is a familiar face. If you've ever seen Squid Game on Netflix, the actor Lee Jung Jae, so he plays Jedi Master Sol. So just a quick story. So um, I when I was in London last year at Star Wars Celebration, I was watching him speaking to someone on a panel, and I swear to God, he could not speak a word of English. He had a translator with him the whole time, and he just couldn't speak English at all. And obviously, fast forward to 6 weeks ago, you watch him in the trailer, and he's like speaking English, and I'm like, what is going on here? His English is like perfect in the trailer, but then I read recently that he obviously learned English while he was filming on set, and he said it was really difficult. Obviously, he's from Korea, so for us to learn their language would be equally as difficult. But no, fair play to him. He's done a really good job. He looks like a really cool character. Interested in seeing what he's like. But yeah, no, I was quite taken aback a little bit about his regarding his English. He was really good. So yeah, fair play to him.
Yeah, I think from watching the trailer, for me, obviously, I never knew that. I would never have guessed. Like, his English is flawless.
Wow.
And I remember, obviously, because we spoke about it before, I remember saying to you, have they dubbed it? Like, should we watch it? Oh, and I was like, oh, you can't even see his mouth moving in the trailer. And we watched it back, and actually, you see him speaking, and
Yeah.
he's actually, like, English is absolutely perfect. I think he deserves credit for that, to be fair.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's a really good actor as well. So yeah, for anyone who's ever watched Squid Game, obviously that's season 2 of that's returning this year as well on Netflix. So yeah, look forward to that.
Mm-hmm.
But now moving on. So I think it's around 55 seconds into the trailer of the Acolyte. We see the back of a familiar Jedi Master, let's say. What it appears to be Plo Koon in the shot. Obviously, in Legends, Plo Koon was born over 400 years prior to the Battle of Yavin. And then I think we last saw him in the prequels, and obviously in the Clone Wars, he was killed in Order 66. So I guess it would kind of make sense for him to be in this. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it is him? Do you think it's just somebody who's the same species, who's a Jedi? What do you
Yeah,
think?
I think I would like it not to be him. I would like it just to be a whole set of new characters, because I think whenever they've done something and brought people back, which they always do anyway, but when they've brought other people back into it, so for instance, like when we looked at Ahsoka, they brought Ahsoka in, they brought Sabine in, they brought all the Rebels guys in. When you look at um, the sequels, they brought all the old characters back from the originals.
Yeah.
And then they even brought Palpatine back, and we won't talk about that, but
No. But maybe another.
maybe another time. But I really hope they've not brought in another character. If they have brought Plo Koon, then hopefully it's just him and nobody else. Like, I know it's near enough impossible it's going to be anybody else, but
Yeah.
who's to say that Palpatine doesn't figure out how to time travel and go back in the past? We don't know,
Oh,
but
don't.
um.
I've already know that it came back.
No, but realistically, I think more than likely it's going to be him. The timelines just add up, don't they, really well? But like you said, it was Legends, so unless they canonize it, which they seem to be doing a lot more, I've noticed, they're slowly, like, things that are canon, they're slowly trickling it in. So
Yeah, well, the Leslie Helland, who's obviously the head writer, creator of the Acolyte, she's done quite a few interviews recently, and she's obviously she said that they've added quite a lot of Legends stuff into canon, which is now canon into this show, which is pretty cool because I think Legends has got a lot of really really good stuff, so it's good to see it come into canon, especially on screen.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the timelines kind of do match. Obviously, we see him die, Plo Koon die, or in the Order 66, and obviously this is set, again a year before the Phantom Menace. So yeah, could well be him. So yeah, I guess we'll wait on seeing that. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on the Junius Sutomu's character, who plays obviously Chewbacca in the last couple of Star Wars films, the Finnish actor. Obviously, he plays a Wookiee Jedi in The Acolyte. Finally, we get to see a Wookiee Jedi in live action. And apparently he's a bit of a loner as well, which is quite interesting. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on Wookiee Jedi in live action?
So, I don't. Do you know what? Right, for me, I think when you look at alien races, there's certain races that are Jedi's, and there's certain ones that just shouldn't be one. And for me, like Wookiees shouldn't be one. However, I love everything about them. Like when you look at Gunji in Clone Wars, like he's cool. Do you know what I mean? And then you see him again, don't we? I think we see him in Rebels. He pops up in Rebels, right? And I like the idea of it, but I also think when he's fully grown, yeah, and he grows into an actual fully adult Wookiee, they're just too big and clunky. Do you know what I mean? However, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do with him. I think I like the idea of it. I like the idea of the Wookiees anyway, in general. So just like big cuddly bears, right?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, you know, Chewie will always be my favourite from the Skywalker saga. But yeah, no, I'm actually looking forward to seeing this. I think obviously there's been quite a few Wookiee Jedi's over the years in Legends. Obviously, we've seen Gunji in Clone Wars and in Rebels in animation. So yeah, I'm actually quite excited to see what this character's gonna be like in live action. I think it'll be pretty cool.
I like the lightsaber that he has. You know how it's like made out, almost looks like it's made out of wood.
Yeah, that's
I
sick.
love that. I love that.
That's cool. So yeah, moving on. You touched on it before. The shall I say the person with the mask in the Acolyte. I think Amandla Stenberg's character. I think she's called May. She's a former Padawan who's now a dangerous warrior, so to speak. There is rumours that she's a Sith Acolyte, similar to Asajj Ventress. And yeah, do you think she could be the Sith with the red lightsaber that you see in the trailer, or do you think that's maybe her master? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. Purely
Right.
based on the fact that if you watch the trailer, and now I know trailers edited, like I know how editing kind of works.
Yeah.
But that when all the Jedi's get pushed back, there's no way it can be her. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no possible way. When you watch the fight scenes with her, yeah, she looks cool, but she's like a Shin Hati, you know. She's just not fully trained. She's just not fully there.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
So the
Yeah,
power
it's
that
quite
comes from
cool.
that push, I swear, I just think I think it's someone a lot more powerful.
Yeah, I mean, you see the end of the trailer where there's like 20 Jedi lined up, all pulling out the lightsabers. I'm like, what's going on here? They can't. You're not going to see. I mean, who would stand a chance against 20 Jedi? So whoever it is either has reinforcements or someone like you say really powerful, which it probably will be. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, no, her character's quite mysterious, and again, she's a former Padawan. Be interested to find out kind of where she came from, her background, who's a master, who trained her. So hopefully they go into that a little bit. But yeah, kind of the last thing I wanted to touch on, which kind of discovered recently. So yeah, reading a couple of days ago, the Acolyte will kind of redefine balance in the Force, emphasizing the need for both light and dark. So obviously, contrary to kind of Lucas's original view,
Hmm.
you know, that the dark side was a cause of imbalance, etc. So kind of see Disney kind of shifting the concept here of balancing the Force. Obviously, since he took over in 2012. So yeah, obviously Lucas is kind of his views on balancing the Force kind of evolved in the Clone Wars, and obviously this has influenced this show as well. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I think I'm just double checking something, but I don't know if Disney are changing the balance of the Force thing. I'm not too sure, because there was an interview with I can't remember. I told you I'm really awful with names.
What about it?
With
Is it Leslie Headland, the creator?
who?
Leslie Headland, the creator, or
No, it was Sam Witwer. So there's an interview with Sam Witwer. He talks about
yes, from Clone Wars. Clone Wars?
yeah, and he talks about the Force. No, it wasn't Sam Witwer. It was this is what I mean. I'm dreadful at names. Kanan Jarrus. He was played by.
Is that Freddie Prinze Jr.?
That's it. Yeah. So
Back in the day, yeah.
So there was an interview with him where he talks about Fred from Scooby Doo. He talks about the Force and how it's a balance, and he was talking with Dave Filoni, and he was like he's almost like he's the closest things to George Lucas that we can get, and obviously he was explaining what the Force is. Now, I think personally we got it wrong, like with our understanding of what the Force is. The Force is like yin and yang, and I think that's what Disney are trying to explain. So obviously, because this whole thing about bringing balance to the Force, everyone was like, we'll get rid like the balance of the Force is the dark side wiped out, but then that's just yin. There's no yang with that, right? Do you get what I'm saying? So to have balance, you need equal weight on both sides, and I think if that's what they're going to do, they're just going to explain that a lot more. Which if you take that and understand what it means, it sounds kind of like the Jedis in the High Republic era, so in the Acolyte, are really powerful. There's so many of them. There's loads of them. It kind of sounds like it's going to be the same thing that happened in Revenge of the Sith, where the Sith or the bad guys in the Acolyte are going to win. Now, obviously, we don't know. From my theory, from my kind of thinking and understanding the balance of the Force, it's really one-sided at the minute. So if this is the Jedi's, they're up here. No, sorry, if this is the Sith, they're up here because the Jedi's are like the good side, the light side of the Force is kind of weighing everything down. So if that is the case and they're both like this, then they have to find that balance. Which, don't know, if that's what they're going to look into, then I reckon that's going to be the outcome.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's going to be interesting to see if there is any changes, the subtleties to them, and it's going to be good. I'm really looking forward to that. Obviously, we've got about a month to go until it starts. I think the first 2 episodes on the first day. But no, it looks really good, really exciting, lots of action. So that's definitely one we're gonna cover in detail very soon.
Right.
Moving on. Sorry, you're gonna say something there?
I just said, damn right, we're gonna cover it. I can't wait for it. I'm really excited.
Very excited. What else has happened over the last few weeks? So we have the Tales of the Empire. So the second season it's what now called the Star Wars Tales anthology series. So obviously, this is the sequel, following on from the Tales of the Empire in 2022, which was really, really good. I thought. What did you think of that one, by the way? Enjoy it?
So I think when it comes to Star Wars in general, there are series that get me hooked and I have to watch them. There's films that get me hooked and I have to watch them. But this other series that when I watch them, I fall asleep. And unfortunately, some of the Tales episodes, I just fell asleep watching.
Yeah, they were a little bit slow. Not a lot happened in some of them, but some of them were really good.
Some of them are really good. Some of them are phenomenal. Like, don't get me wrong, but I really liked. See, I'm also biased though because I really like the ones with Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
Even though I did kind of fall asleep watching it the first time, I did really enjoy them. And I love Ahsoka and I love the Ahsoka episodes. However, the episode isn't as good as the book. Just saying.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I've heard quite a few people say that, to be fair. But yeah, no, going back to this season, so obviously this one is kind of split into two arcs. So
Mhm.
one of them is going to be following Morgan Elsbeth, who we know from the Mandalorian and the Ahsoka live action series, and then the other arc will follow another familiar face, former Jedi Barriss Offee, who we last saw in the Clone Wars show a few years ago. So yeah, this trailer looked really, really good. I think it's going to be better than season 1, and a lot of action. And yeah, what are your thoughts?
I like that it's not going to be snippets of little episodes and little things. Like, I like the fact that they've got like 2 story arcs and they're going to focus on them.
Yeah.
I think they're going to introduce characters, which is great. We're going to touch upon it. We're going to see little bits of backstories of these characters that kind of intertwine with those story arcs. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
No, it should be good. Looking forward to it. I think it'll be better than season 1. Hopefully, you won't fall asleep too much, but you never know. But yeah, I think by the time this podcast goes out as well, Tales of the Empire will be released or will be available, all 6 episodes as well, available now to watch on Disney Plus. So
Wait, is that all it is? 6 episodes?
6 episodes, yeah, all available at once. I think it was 6 last time as well, to be fair.
Yeah, it wasn't. There wasn't that many. I know. Man, is that all? 6
quite
episodes?
short, like 20, 25 minutes. So
Wow.
look forward to it. So we'll get stuck into that, reviewing that soon. But yeah, obviously, just want to touch on actually one of the characters. So obviously, he talked about new characters coming in, which hopefully yes. We also see the trailer a General Grievous, who we know from Revenge of the Sith in live action. Yeah, what were your thoughts on that? It's quite an interesting one to put in.
I'm glad he's coming back.
I think.
Yeah, like, I know we've seen him in Clone Wars, but he was like this spoof character, wasn't he, in Clone Wars? Like, he was the guy that turned up and then everything failed. Like, he barely ever had a win. So
Yeah.
I hope they actually do him good. I hope they're doing good this time. I hope they're doing some justice, and we get to see a little bit more about him. And I know it's following 2 story arcs, and it's not like Tales of the Jedi where they flick in and out of these different characters. But I would have liked to see his backstory and like how he became Grievous.
Yeah, I hope they go into that. I'm not sure they will, but I don't know. I think as long as we get to see him, not just a cameo, not just in one episode, maybe a few episodes. I just don't want to see a cameo of him. Like you say, I want to see a little bit more of him. If they go to a backstory of his life and how he became who he is, then brilliant. I think that'll be really good. But yeah, no, it's an interesting one for sure. So moving on to games, we have Star Wars Outlaws. Obviously, the trailer came out a few weeks ago. This is the first ever Star Wars open world game, which is crazy. Personally, I think it looks really good. I think it looks great. You've got your reservations, which I think are understandable. So yeah, tell the people what you think.
So I don't know if anyone knows Ubisoft very well. Now, I love Star Wars, and if you look at the Jedi series, so Fallen Order and Survivor, they did stuff that was phenomenal. Like, they almost kind of reinvigorate. What? Sorry.
That was EA, though, wasn't it? To be fair.
That was EA, yeah.
Also, the Star Wars Jedi games are good. So.
EA didn't make the game though. EA just they were the producers for it. So very similar to Ubisoft with this. I think it was what were they called? I can't find them. Yeah, so I know EA produced it, and the same for Outlaws.
Yeah.
So Respawn Entertainment made Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order, I believe.
Yes. Yeah.
Whereas for Ubisoft, they're producing it, but I just know that with Ubisoft, anything that they make, they kind of just pull a lot of things just to make money. And if it's the same thing, if it's what I'm thinking it's going to be, Outlaws' story, because don't forget, it's Disney still own it, don't they? They own Star Wars. So if they have a say in it, then that's going to be the saving grace. That's going to be the thing that saves the story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not worried about the story. I'm worried about the game mechanics. So, for instance, we can get a ship. Everyone's like, you can fly. After Starfield come out, right? Everyone watched the trailer for Outlaws, and they were like, you can fly to space. This game's already going to be better than Starfield. And I thought, well, we don't know that you can fly to space. And I remember having a conversation with a couple of my friends, and they were saying to me, you can see them flying up into the sky. I was like, yeah, but don't forget, we've had smart loading screens for a long time.
Yeah.
Look at The Last of Us. Look at Gears of War. Where you have to lift up the thing. Look at the best ones are like Tomb Raider, for example. That's the first one that springs to mind. Shuffling through a little crack in the wall or going under some rocks. Like these are just smart loading screens. Like people don't realize, but they are. They're just loading up the levels. So when you're flying through clouds and it's just a bright white light and your ship there that you can just move like this,
Yeah.
who's to say that's not a loading screen? Do you
Very
get what I'm
true.
saying?
Very true.
So then on top of that, we've also got Ubisoft's general way they make things. So the maps, breaking down the maps into different sections, and in those sections you have smaller sections, and in those smaller sections you have tasks. Now I'll break it down for Outlaws kind of level, right? Imagine Ghost Recon Breakpoint, the newest one that they've made, right? That style of game in Outlaws. So yes, it's free roam, but it's not GTA free roam. It's not Red Dead free roam. It's gonna be looking really nice, but nothing to do. And I don't want to put a downer on anyone, but my expectations, I have to lower them because I don't want to get them too high because I know what Ubisoft are like and they will let me
Yeah.
down. Um,
I agree. Well, I'd usually agree, but with this one, I've just got a funny feeling it's going to be a really good game. And when they say it's open world, I think they mean it's open world. So I hope you're wrong. I've got a feeling it's going to be really good.
yeah, but look at what they did with Avatar. I said when they made Avatar, I said
Yeah,
it's just reskinned Far Cry, and
very
it come
true.
out and it was just reskinned Far Cry. Like you'll get the immersion, like you'll get it where you're in that world, and it's gonna be epic. Like being in that world, it's gonna be epic. Like when you're playing Outlaws, right, and you're sat there. And you're just hearing blaster fires like pinging around you. It's gonna be cool. Like there's no shadow of a doubt. It can't not be. Um, look at Battlefront. They did that really well. That's like almost cinematic. Yeah, the sound effects are phenomenal.
Really good, yeah, sick.
That's what's going to sell it. The free roam aspect, I really hope that it's not, you know, fly to a planet, land in a certain section of the planet, climb a radio tower, go do a race, do a pod race,
Yeah,
go and
yeah,
take over that bunker, find a weapon, find some lost Jedi scrolls. Like, I really hope it's not it's not going to be like that. But I know what Ubisoft are like.
yeah. I know. Do you think perhaps it might be similar to, I don't know, the Tomb Raider games or maybe the Uncharted games, which I really like, some of my favourite games. Do you think it'll be like Uncharted in that sort of mode, but kind of open world? What do you
No.
think? No, okay. That's
Right,
what
so
that. Why?
the
Why?
the stories, right? The way the story is going to be written, um, it's going to be quite cinematic. So when you're doing these missions, it's going to be like your Tomb Raider. It's going to be like your Last of Us. It's going to be like your Uncharted. It's going to have that feel. It's going to be cinematic. right?
Yeah.
But apart from that, it's not. Everything else isn't going to have that. I just really don't feel like it's going to have any of that.
Mm.
You know, and I know everyone's really excited for it, and I know, you know, everyone's going to be buzzing for it. Ghost Recon wasn't a bad game. I really enjoyed Ghost Recon.
No, it wasn't not at all. Not at all. It wasn't the best game, but a lot of people
No,
loved it. Didn't.
it
It was
wasn't
good.
the
I think it was
best.
a good game overall, but I'm really excited for this game. But every time I speak to you about it, my excitement just goes down now. But
And I'm
yeah.
glad. I'm glad I'm lowering your
No, you
expectations
can
because I don't want you to cry.
Yeah, no, look, we'll find out. It's going to be obviously come out towards the end of the year. The last couple of months, it should be great. But yeah, obviously this game, it's very much obviously the lead character is called Kay. She's kind of like a bounty hunter, scoundrel, kind of similar to Han Solo, I guess. Very similar character. Obviously, she navigates going to be navigating through the criminal underworld, and there's going to be 4 syndicates, each with its own leader. The first one is a very familiar Jabba the Hutt, who's the leader of obviously the Hutt cartel. Then you have Lady Kira, who obviously we know from Amelia Clarke's betrayal in Solo, a Star Wars story. We need Solo too, by the way. Obviously, she's in Crimson Dawn. You have Queen Ashiga of the Ashiga clan, who's a new syndicate for Outlaws. And then you finally have, I think it's called Gorick of the Pike Syndicate. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Jabba the Hutt and obviously Lady Kira? Crimson Dawn being in the game.
Yeah, I think that's cool. I think we're now. If you think about all your Star Wars games, it's always lightsabers, and you know, I think the only one that wasn't was on the PS2, and when you played Jango Fett, you know,
Yes.
and all. I mean, I do apologise because I missed out probably one of the best ones, which was Republic Commando. That was a phenomenal game as well. That was like by far ahead of its time.
It's one of the best
So
games.
I'm looking forward to the underworld side of things and seeing how gritty it is. You know, you're playing basically a female version of Han Solo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it looks really fun. Everybody just ignore Aaron's advice. It's going to be a really good game, and that's the end of it. But now, obviously,
No,
we'll find out towards the end of the year.
I can't believe you just said that.
I know, sorry. So yeah, moving on. So in recent news, shall we say, George Lucas has been brought up, who, by the way, has just been announced as the richest celebrity of this year by Forbes. I think his net worth is $5.5 billion, which is incredible. He's obviously, I know I think he's the largest individual shareholder in Disney. So he's obviously earning quite a few quid from them, but I can't believe he's the richest celebrity of the year. That's just insane. I swear he's not done a film for like 20 years. What are your thoughts on that?
I don't know how. I actually have no idea how he is though. Like I know he's got the most shares, but I thought he sold it to Disney.
Well, he did, but he's obviously a shareholder. So
In Disney.
yeah, I mean, I've got no idea what he earns from Disney every year or every month or what, but he's obviously earning a lot. Obviously, he sold Lucasfilm to Disney over 10 years ago for like, I think it was $4 billion. And I think for Lucasfilm's now worth $8 billion or $12 billion, something like that. So obviously they've made the money. But yeah, I found that crazy. But no, the main reason why I wanted to discuss Mr. Lucas is because in a recent interview on YouTube, Roger Christian was speaking to a YouTuber. I cannot remember his name. Star Wars Theory, the YouTube account is really good. Follow him. He was speaking to Roger Christian, who was the set decorator for A New Hope, and he was also the second unit director for Return of the Jedi and The Phantom Menace. And he was also the creator of the very first lightsaber, which was in A New Hope, and it was Luke's. How cool is that? I never knew that until a couple of days ago.
It's mad. I didn't know who that he was the guy that had made it. Like he'd come up with it.
Yeah, and even better, tell the people where he made or how he made that lightsaber, where he got it from. Very cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. It was actually in the UK, you know. He actually found the parts in the UK, yeah, and it's part of a camera, and you know he actually taught in the interview. He explains it to you, so he explains like how he got it and that, like the metallic tape he put around it, because I know apparently there's a lot of confusion around this tape that the people were like it didn't have it on, it does have it on, it's not there, but he was like no, I made the first one, it's definitely on there. And obviously how the little parts went together. But if you watch the we've got a snippet on our TikTok, so by all means, if you want to head over to that and give it a little watch, you can kind of see what he's saying about George Lucas coming back. But there's also, like I said, like Jordan said there, Star Wars Theory did the full interview with him. And he talks about it's about an hour, just over an hour or an hour and a half, I think. And he talks really in depth about like how he discovered it, who helped him do it. He talks a lot. It's really, really interesting, and I would say it's definitely worth a watch. Like, it's really, really worth a watch for sure. Just to kind of get a little bit of the insight on it, and like how quickly and what they had to go off to make it. Like, it was mad. And then to have what he made first time, phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a masterpiece. It is phenomenal. But yeah, in particular, obviously that interview, Roger goes on to say that he believes he's heard Mr. George Lucas is coming back to Star Wars. I think he mentioned that there's an upcoming live action series. He's going to be involved. Obviously, we don't know what capacity. We don't know if it's true. It's just something that he's heard. So that came out of absolutely nowhere. Kind of blew my mind for a little bit the other day.
He said...
What do you think?
Just sorry, before you go on. He did say he'd heard, but he'd also read.
Right, which one is it, Roger? Both.
Yeah.
Yeah, so... Personally, I'm not sure. I'm 50-50 on whether it's true or not. I think if he does come back, I think it would be... I don't think he'll be one of the main guys. I don't think he's going to be a director or maybe a producer, an executive producer. I don't think he's going to be a director. I don't think he's going to be a writer. At least I hope not anyway. I think George is best at, obviously, the story, writing the story. When it comes to dialogue and directing, he's not great. Obviously, the prequel showed that, especially the screenwriting was absolutely atrocious in episode 1, 2, and 3. But we'll discuss that another day. And yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, as we know, the Skeleton Crew is coming out towards the end of the year. That's the next live action series after the Acolyte. Obviously, that's already been done. It's in post production. So, is it a case of he's involved in that? Is he going to be involved in something else that's going to get announced towards the end of the year? Maybe just before Celebration in Japan next year? What do you think? And do you want him to come back? What are your thoughts?
I've been dying for you to ask me. I actually think when you listen to Roger, he says Roger Christensen. So he says that he read and heard it, right? And I feel like when you watch the interview, he says it and doesn't realise he said it, and then he kind of goes, well, that's my thinking anyway, from what I've heard and what I've read. It's almost like he says it and then tries to cover it up.
Yeah.
So I do think he's back.
You do.
You know, and he says, don't forget, he also mentions he's on set. So he says, like, he's already on set, like he's on set a lot, which makes me think, well, he's obviously there, he's giving advice to people. Don't forget, Star Wars is his baby. He says it is.
It is.
So,
it is.
So when he's trying to do these things, like he's obviously on set with his crew, and he's kind of explaining certain things to them, certain aspects with them, talking them through what is Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have more. If it's true, what Roger Christian is saying, right? I think he's going to have more input on it. Now, I don't think he's going to have dialogue. I don't think he'll be the writer of the dialogue, and I really hope that he doesn't, because as much as I love the prequels, it is dire. Now, his story writing is fantastic, so I
Yep.
hope he comes up with the concepts for the series, everything that happens in the series, and I hope that's just his input. So I hope he's like the creator of a series. I don't think he's going to be involved in Skeleton Crew. I don't think he's going to be involved in any other like the ones that we've heard about. I think he's going to make his own. That's my thoughts. What about you?
Yeah. Yeah, I tend to agree. But then a part of me also thinks that if he does come back, which I'm 50-50 on, I think it's going to be perhaps in more of a consultancy-based role capacity. Because I think in 2015, he came back for The Force Awakens. I think he was a creative consultant, whatever that means. Obviously, some kind of input in the creativity of the film. Obviously, a really good film. And I think that's the last thing he did in Star Wars. So that's, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. And then I think in an interview in 2014 or 2015, he said that he's not interested in, pretty much made out that he isn't interested in Star Wars anymore, as in, making them. And he kind of moved on. He wants to make kind of, smaller, obscure like films and projects and this, that, and the other. So if he does come back, I will be surprised in a way, because I thought he'd be long gone. Obviously, I think he's 80 this year as well. And I thought Star Wars has been and gone for him, but I don't know. If he does come back, it's going to be interesting. Just please, for the life, do not let him do work on the screenplay, any screenplays, any directing. But if he does come back, I think, if he could maybe work on story or creativity sort of parts of a live action series. Obviously, Dave Filoni is the new George Lucas, I think, and he's a very good writer. He's a good director. He's chief creative officer now at Lucasfilm. So maybe George will be working side by side with him on this new project, if it is true. That's what I think might happen. But yeah, I don't think it's going to be in any big capacity. But you never know.
Yeah, I think he might. I think he's going to be bigger than what. I think he's going to be bigger on what we're thinking, but I don't think he's going to be as big as like a big massive role in it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, well, I guess we'll find out in a couple of months, in a year, at Celebration, before Celebration. I don't know, or it might just not be true at all. But yeah, we'll find out. But now moving on. So we have Star Wars Celebration Japan coming up. I say coming up, but it's not for another 11, 12 months. It's next year. It's in Japan. Obviously, I went to my first Star Wars celebration in London last year with another friend of mine, and it was over 4 days, and it was just absolutely brilliant. Obviously, you've never been to one yet. Obviously,
Never.
We're hoping to go to Celebration next year in Japan, which is going to be absolutely mega. I think by the time this episode goes out as well, the tickets will be out. Hopefully we get ours. Hopefully everybody, you get yours as well. But yeah, really excited for that. How excited are you? What are your thoughts?
I can't wait. I've never been to one, and I'm not too sure what I expect. But I've been to a Comic-Con, and I don't think it's going to be anything like that. I think it's going to be like, because I love Star Wars as well, it's going to be even more like, it's breathtaking. Like, I'm just going to love it. I'm going to absolutely love it, and I can't wait to see what merch is there. I'm really looking forward to buying merch.
Honestly, I spent way too much money last year. The merch is just endless. if I had all the money in the world, it probably still wouldn't be enough. Like, you could just buy everything there. It's just insane what they have, and obviously, I'm really looking forward to the panels, seeing some of the actors again. Obviously, it's just recently been announced that the Ashley Eckstein, who plays the original Ahsoka in Clone Wars, obviously your favourite character, which we'll touch on another time. I know you're really excited about potentially meeting her, seeing her.
Yeah,
I can tell. Look how excited you are.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
So yeah, she's going to be there. Tamara Morrison, who plays Boba Fett and Jango Fett, he's going to be there. Anthony Daniels as C-3PO, he will be there as well. And then over the next few months, there's going to be a lot of other exciting guests to be announced. I'm hoping Ewan McGregor's going to be there. Hayden Christensen.
Mm-hmm.
I would love Harrison Ford to be there. I'd absolutely love to meet that guy. He's just my favourite actor, favourite character, Han Solo. Mark Hamill. Obviously the other Ahsoka, which I know you also love, Rosario Dawson. She might be there. She was there last year. I know you absolutely love her. Tell everyone how much you love her.
I don't mind her. I just don't like the character that she played in the Ahsoka. I don't even know why it was called Ahsoka. But listen, yeah. I'm not going to go into it. I'm not going to go into it yet because
another time.
Yeah, I could talk for hours about this, and I'd still just get more frustrated.
Yeah, definitely. We have. By the time this episode goes out again, it will be Star Wars Day, aka May the 4th.
That's today. If you're watching, it'll be today.
So tonight we will be seeing The Phantom Menace on the big screen for the first time in 25 years, and I know you cannot wait. I'm very excited. I can't. As well.
I think the sounds are going to be amazing. I don't know what it is, but like I think sound effects are going to be phenomenal, and I cannot wait to hear the lightsabers.
Yeah, that the Maul reveal as the doors open, that's going to be epic.
And then the Duel of the Fates soundtrack as well, playing up. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to ruin anyone's ears.
Still the best soundtrack in Star Wars, that in my opinion. What do you say?
Yeah, that is definitely it's definitely up there.
That duel.
It's the one that. Sorry.
That duel as well. I think it is the best, even maybe better than Obi-Wan and Anakin in Revenge of the Sith. But that's a debate for another time.
Yeah, that is a tough. Even the Ahsoka and the Anakin in the Ahsoka series. That was a great duel as well.
Yes, they're probably the top 3 to be fair.
But I feel like with the Ahsoka series, it was visually very pleasing, whereas the actual choreography, like we discussed before, like the choreography in Phantom Menace, all the prequels, was great, and the fact that you've got 2 different fighting styles, well, technically 3 with Maul, but I remember watching an interview about the fighting, and they were saying like when Qui-Gon's fighting, Liam Neeson, when he's fighting, he was just really powerful. Like his swings are just really strong, and he was almost like the real life Darth Vader. He was just swinging and just like absolute power, just hitting. And then Ewan McGregor, obviously Obi-Wan, he was just really technical. Like he was just really smart, like swinging his sword around, his lightsaber around.
Laser sword.
His laser sword. It's because in my head I'm just visualizing him on set fighting with the sticks. But yeah, so when he has obviously his lightsaber, he's just swinging it around, and he's like apparently really really technical, and the choreography with him was a lot easier than obviously Liam Neeson, because he was a tall, he's strong, so he wasn't as agile. But if you watch that, when you watch that duel, the Duel of the Fates, there you can see the difference. Like I rewatched it not long ago, and obviously I'm going to be seeing it technically when this comes out tonight, and I'm going to be blown away as well. So it's just the way they fight. You can actually just see the difference in them, and you also see a slight hint of Anakin's fighting style in Obi-Wan's.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, slightly.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, let us know in the comments, or you can even send us an email at the Mancalorians@gmail.com. Let us know what you're doing this weekend for May the 4th. Obviously, we're going to be going to the cinema tonight to watch The Phantom Menace, and then probably binge more Star Wars the next day, because that's what you do. So yeah, let us know in the comments, or send us an email, and yeah, it'd be good to hear what everyone's doing this weekend. But yeah, any more news, or are we good? Shall we wrap up?
No, I think that's it. I think I think we're good.
First episode done. Yeah, cool. So yeah, you can listen to us wherever you get your podcasts, or if you prefer watching your podcasts, you can also do it via our YouTube channel, The Mancalorians. Please subscribe to us. You can also follow us on Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok at The Mancalorians. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Again, you can also send us an email to the Mancalorians@gmail.com. And yeah, let us know what you think. Send us in your questions, and we will make sure that we read them out on the next show. Yeah, all good. But yeah, no, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.
Yeah, see you later, guys.